What's going on, listeners? This is your host, Brother X. And before we get started with today's episode, I just want to let you know about this wonderful platform called Anchor. It is one of the number one free podcasting platforms that allows you to both not only record, edit, and design your podcast to your needs, where you're able to push out and distribute your podcast to all your listeners across all the different podcasting platforms, whether it is Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, you name it, they are connected to it, and they're a wonderful platform. It's totally free. You can check them out at anchor.fm. And with that being said, guys, let's get into this.
Hey guys, how you doing? It's your favorite Fed, Mr. Smith. I don't need no soundbite today. I kind of snuck in the studio real quick because I know we're supposed to be, out on our mental health break, but I had to come back because I had to get a couple things off my chest and looking around, making sure nobody can hear me. But yeah.
Hey. Didn't I say we were on a break? We ain't got the funds.
You did, but I mean, I'm fronting this, so we should be good.
Oh, you paying for it? Oh yeah,
I'm paying this session.
We're gonna run the water. We're gonna run the good AC. We ain't got the one fan that only turns one way.
So you're a child now. You just gonna have everything running just because you can.
Yeah. We're running up the electric bill today.
Oh God,
with good reason.
Thanks. So yeah, you know what? Today, listeners, this is going to be a strictly Sportscenter episode. So for all you sports aficionados, trust me, it's not that I'm gonna bore you because there's some things that couldn't wait a couple more weeks. We have to get it off our chest. So with that, let me hit my music. Yeah. So Baltimore, stand up. I'm a rep from my city right quick because Javonte Tank Davis, if you last remember from our previous episode, listeners, I was saying that, he's going against Ryan Garcia. I feel confidently Tank going to put him on his ass. I was right. Tank hit him with a nice little, left hook into rib area in the 7th round. And, that body shot. They're not listeners. They always tell you like, all right, Mike Tyson always went for it, like try to knock a nigga's head loose. But then body shots, when you take the air out of somebody, take it from both me and Brother X, who both played football. You take the air out of somebody. Oh yeah, they ain't no good for us again.
No, that he straight Oklahoma drilled his ribs. Told that boy to go play tiddlywinks. My man was playing the keys on his rib cage.
Now you say he's playing the keys though.
No. My man was a musician.
He was definitely playing. He was playing the flutes, the everything. He just was accordion that ass. But so we'll see who the next opponent is for Tank Davis. But whether possibly Devin Haney or Shakur Stevenson. Now them two with that, I ain't gonna lie, that would be Ryan Garcia. I felt like, all right, Tank got a clear advantage. Them two, I'm not so sure. It can go either way. So I'm curious on how that's gonna go.
Wait, real quick, this is how I knew, and you can correct me if I'm wrong because I've only seen bits and pieces of it. But I knew Tank was gonna win when the motherfucker came out with Lil Uzi Vert and Chief Keef. My man went to the dirtiest parts of Chicago, dusted off Chief Keef. I need this type of energy around me.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like I appreciate, like, you don't need to have all the jewels or whatever. Like, no disrespect to, we'll say, Deontay Wilder, who came out in that heavy ass, blingy ass getup. But sometimes you need to come out and just, you mean business. You say you don't like this person, knock that motherfucker's head loose. So, to each his own. We'll see what happens as we go on with things. Going to the NFL, finally, the Jets and the Packers got this trade done. I was like, are they just going to hold both teams in limbo for the foreseeable future? Like, we know Aaron Rodgers wants to go to the Jets, so why don't y'all just do it? But they finally did it, and it was like a crap ton of trade picks. I was like, okay. I mean, draft picks, sorry, not trade picks. So I was like, okay, that's, it's cool. So yeah, there's a certain quarterback that I had mentioned before on multiple occasions.
Uh-huh.
Unanimous 2019 unanimous MVP,
Yes.
Mr. Lamar
Mm-hmm.
Timothy Jackson, who,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
you know, as I stated, listeners,
Talk your shit.
and shout out to my boy Red Wolf. Of course, his links will be in the description below. But we knew it was coming. We called it. So Stephen A. and Adam Schefter and Skip and Shannon and everybody that kept saying, "Oh, there's bad blood. Oh, he ain't gonna go back to them. Oh, they just need to go ahead and trade." 5-year, $260 million contract.
God damn.
With $185 million guaranteed.
Goddamn.
I'm sorry. Did I hear somebody say not a fully guaranteed contract? Did I hear somebody make concessions? Did I hear we actually have cap space? So all them analysts, what y'all gonna say now, buddy? Huh? You want to y'all want to keep talking?
Well. How is he going to stay healthy? Are they going to get him some weapons, Mr. Smith? Did they get him some weapons?
Oh, I'm glad you said that. I'm sorry. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did the Baltimore Ravens not get a Mr. Odell Beckham, aka one hand, these nuts? I'm catching this ball regardless. We got him, right?
Yes.
And then we also got Nelson Aguilar, but we ain't gonna bring that up.
I'm sorry, God. What now?
we don't worry about that. We just gonna put that in the black box.
Okay.
So within that, we have Odell. Rashad's coming back from injury. We'll see how that goes on. Devin Duvernay is still there. Now we have we draft, which I'm going to get to a little bit later, but we drafted Zay Flowers out of Boston College, who's a speed runner. So I'm like, okay. But what this contract is actually trying to do, listeners, and I want you to hear me. Hopefully this plays out. Me and Red Wolf have talked about this numerous times with each other. We are hoping that because of how he structured this contract, that the Ravens are going to have one more trick up their sleeve, and they're going to pull that DeAndre Hopkins for either a future second, and maybe Patrick Queen, or maybe a third, because we can actually eat DeAndre Hopkins' salary cap, or at least take a good portion of it this time. So we get that. I want you to hear me out, listeners, if that works out. As quarterback, you have Lamar Jackson. At running back, you have J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards, a.k.a. a two-headed monster. At wide receiver, you have DeAndre Hopkins, Odell Beckham Jr., Devin Duvernay, Rashad Bateman, with a tight end of Mark Andrews.
I believe you're missing somebody. You're not going to talk about him?
Who am I not going to talk about?
Oh, never mind. I'm thinking somebody else. I saw something crazy. Carry on.
What? No, I didn't hear this. What did you hear? What did you see?
So listeners, this is totally off script, but apparently there was a picture on the social media streets of one Antonio Brown.
Enough from the clown. Nope. We're not doing this. We're not doing it.
No. So you're just not gonna talk about him?
Hell no. Get that April.
Just going in that black box.
That black box. He's getting buried. Buried. BURRRRIED. Buried. Like he's done. It's a wrap. Put a stick on him. He's done. But yeah, no, it's that. But you know what? I'm happy this is finally done. And honestly, I'm appreciative of the Jalen Hurts contract, because that's what got this to be done faster. Because now we got to see what a quarterback looks like that went to a Super Bowl, and what his market looks like. And granted, Jalen Hurts low-key got robbed the MVP this year, so call it what it is. But if that's the kind of money that he's making, we already know that Patrick is making $45 million a year. It's best to get this contract like that under table now before Burrow and what's the other? Jay Herbo, before their two contracts come up. So I'm appreciative. I'm gonna look forward to see how this contract breaks down. I'm hoping that it doesn't have a huge salary cap hit with us. So yeah. Within that, we go to the draft, and yeah, listeners, there was an episode that we talked about. Dude's name was Will Levis, aka Mr. I eat bananas with the peels on, and I put mayonnaise in my coffee. There was a rumor going around.
Terrorist taste buds.
Yes, very, very terrorist taste buds. There was a rumor going around that he might be the first or second pick in the NFL draft. And Yeah.
I'm sorry. Continue.
That escalated very quickly. So of course, pick one for the Carolina Panthers went to Bryce Young, which is what a lot of people already were expecting. From there, pick two, Houston, Texas. They were like, we don't know if we're going to go quarterback or if we're going to go like a D line, like or edge rushers. Like we don't know what we're going to do. And I'm like, okay, well, better figure something out because this, like we need to know. And so they ended up going with CJ Stroud as the quarterback. So, okay. So I think Arizona had the next pick. Well, okay. Right. Well, Arizona, I guess, will pick up somebody, whatever. And then they were like, yeah, Texas traded back into the first round. The next pick, we're like, whoa. So y'all said you either can have one or the other. They was like, nah, we want both.
I'm about to say, cue the J. Cole line. Why would I fight between this one or that one? I know I can have both.
Like what? So that was crazy. Then the Colts, I was actually surprised. Anthony Richardson going to the Colts because I'm so used to their makeup of a quarterback, i.e., Andrew Luck, Peyton Manning, Jesus Christmas, Matt Ryan, and Phillip Rivers. And probably Nick Foles if you want to throw that in there too. But it's just like, non-athletic, some pretty much accurate quarterbacks. And for them to go to somebody who barely has 13 games?
Yes. Real quick, I think you're not saying the unsaid part. They're all of the Caucasus Mountains.
Oh, of course. I mean, I figured that was already inferred.
It's in Indiana, so I mean, I'm not too surprised, but we don't have to get into that.
I'm not too surprised. So I'm actually gonna look forward to see how that goes. I'm also looking forward to getting as many picks as I can off that nigga in the first time we play them, because it's one thing to see a SEC or ACC football team and defensive schemes. It's another thing to see an NFL speed. That nigga, you better hope you can read defensive coverages. Outside of that, there was a lot of trades going on throughout the week, throughout the night. Nothing really stuck out. For as I said earlier, for the Ravens, I'm actually happy with our pick. I would have loved us to got Deonte Banks from Maryland as our corner, but at the same time, we are a mentality that is best available on the board. And I'm sorry, Zay Flowers was the best available wide receiver outside of Jackson Smith-Igba. So I'm like, I'm not mad at it. Like, put him in the slot or put him at a number two, or either put him on the slot or put him at a number two. And then put Rashad on the outside, and we have Devin as a. Oh my God, I'm sorry, that wide receiver course. And God, like I said, God forbid, don't let us get DeAndre Hopkins. I am going to be insufferable.
Talking the most elite shit.
Yes. So out of that, Brother X, which quarterback do you believe will have the best season?
I can't go Anthony Richardson because he needs a little bit more development, and he's also going against some pretty decent quarterbacks in his division with like Trevor Lawrence. Well, no, you got CJ Stroud, so I mean, okay, that's rookie. Trevor Lawrence, and then I'm trying to think who else. It's Tennessee, right? Actually, you know what? If Jacksonville doesn't do anything stupid, but it's Jacksonville, so that's iffy. But I think I might go with Bryce Young just because there's complete uncertainty at all three quarterback spots in the NFC South, and the number of great quarterbacks in the NFC has decreased. So I might say that. It just depends, because I know with the Panthers, they also got workout warrior, like something Mingo, like Jeremy or Randy Mingo, something like that. He sounded like a lost member of the Migos, but we're not talking about that either. But I think they're putting in pieces with Adam Thielen, DJ Chark, and they just got Miles Sanders. Like, they put some good pieces together, and with the offensive coaching staff that they have, I think he's going to be in a good position. Definitely don't think it's going to be Will Levis, because no. Nobody in life deserves to be successful if you putting that in your coffee.
Yeah, listeners, if you don't know, like I said, he was supposed to be like the first round. Like people were stating he wouldn't even get out probably the top 10 or whatever. That man didn't get picked until day 2. Like he literally sat there with his girlfriend and his mom, and I'm assuming his sister. Hey, yo, his girlfriend during that whole time, I'm telling you.
I'm not. We're not gonna make no assumptions. She must be maybe a very lovely lady. Don't know her at all, but the look on the face that they caught a couple different times, she was like, yeah, she might. Nope, I'll be rude. Well, fuck it anyway. She might be going home with one of the other first round quarterbacks.
That's what I was getting ready to say. I'm like, I think she's going with somebody else. Like, I don't see it because the way she looked off, like, this nigga was supposed to be top 15, and yet he's all the way to day 2, which means the contract is smaller. Like, but to each his own.
Like she probably had it. She had her whole Instagram influencer. Oh, we're gonna get married. She's gonna pop out two kids by him. It's like, oh yeah, going to have her own little brand, cookbook, all the things. Yeah, workout warrior, all those things. She was like, well, let me go ahead and get this mulatto baby real quick.
This mulatto baby, I'm weak. So we'll go back. We'll come back. You said what?
But it's all jokes, of course.
Of course. So we're gonna end off with what we really came here for, listeners. The NBA.
Wait, we're gonna talk about the Philadelphia Eagles, right?
Which part?
About how they're the Georgia Bulldogs now.
Oh yes, like listeners, I swear to you, I feel like if you are a big time player at Georgia, you're gonna end up on the Eagles somehow, some way, because they literally both of their draft picks were from the Bulldogs. Jalen Carter at 9, and then I forgot who was the guy at the end, but he was I believe he was a D tackle, maybe. No, he's edge rusher, Nolan Smith. So I'm like, yo. Like who on the Eagles staff is a Georgia Bulldogs fan? Like, well, I can't see him at Georgia. I'm gonna see him here.
No. Here's the crazy part, because I don't know if this is 100% true, but apparently, like either the GM or someone in the player personnel department, it went to the University of Florida, and they're supposed to be one of Georgia's biggest rivals.
That's funny. that's actually pretty funny. I did not hear that one. That's interesting.
I be dabbling in the Twitter street sometimes, but I mean, if it's not true, we can just cut it out.
Facts. So we're going to end off of where we came here for, which was the NBA. We're going to go through the first couple of things quickly. So 76ers against Brooklyn. Yes, the Sixers swept that ass real quick. Now the thing that's sticking out is Joel Embiid had a knee injury within that series, so it'll be interesting to see when they go up against the Celtics.
Yes.
Celtics, yeah. When they go up against the Celtics, like, are they actually going to do well? Challenge? Yeah, especially with your top score getter and defensive personality in Joel Embiid. Now Harden got to take up a bigger portion. Like, how's that going to work?
Clippers, we've seen that show before. Next question.
That you're right. Clippers versus the Suns. Yeah, KD whooped that ass. Like and if it wasn't him,
go ahead.
If it wasn't him, it was Devin Booker. However, in the spirit of fairness, Kawhi Leonard was hurt for like pretty much every game except the first 2.
Yeah. Like, shout out, respect to Russ, the Brody, because my nigga was doing it not by himself, but my nigga had put everybody on notice. Like, dog, I don't know who you thought I was, but I'm still a 2-time MVP. Had almost 4 years of averaging a triple double. Yeah, no, if I'm gonna lose, it ain't gonna be because of me.
Mm-hmm. He put the team on their back, so I will definitely give him that. So Kawhi at this point, like, bruh, you had a crap ton of load management all freaking year for you to be ready for the playoffs, and then the playoffs happen, the first round happens, and your knee immediately goes out. At this point, I'm sorry to say this, you might have to take the Brandon Roy / Greg Oden route, bro. Like, you got 2 rings. You did what you needed to do. I don't see it. I don't see it in you. You got your money. There's nothing else for you to play for, because like, you can't even stay on the damn court. So I don't know how that's gonna go. But like we said, well, I guess we'll see in the off season because I think he still has like a year left on his contract. I think
he has him and PG have a year together on their contract because they signed the same type of deal so they could come in and possibly leave together at the same time.
Right. So like I said, I guess we'll see what happens. New York and Cleveland. New York actually surprised a couple of people and were like, yeah, so Cleveland, we gonna get you up out of here real quick. So New York, and then of course, as I mentioned earlier, Celtics and Atlanta. Atlanta kind of gave Celtics a little bit of a scare around game 5. But then that last game, Celtics was like, yeah, nah, we gonna get you up out of here.
But small shout out to DeJounte Murray for the big You Dummy Award because even though your team won the following game, how in the middle of a playoff series that you are down, do you make yourself ineligible to play by literally chest bumping a ref after the game is over and get suspended for the following game? You owe Trae Young your game check because you are a big dummy for that. But they were going to win the series anyway, but still dumb.
It was. Miami versus the Bucks. Surprise number 1.
Yeah.
The Bucks came in here with the best record in the National Basketball Association. Notice I didn't say the Eastern Conference. I didn't say their region. No, in all of the NBA, they had the best record with going into this, going up against a Miami Bucks team that just got out the play-in. Giannis goes down in game 1? And then, the series goes 1-1. Miami does not look back. I'm telling you, they made series a bucket after bucket, stop after stop. Shout out to Victor Oladipo, who pretty much has another season-ending injury to his knee, and I'm like, and I actually met a person that's close with him, right? So I've kind of, talked to him about Victor and the kind of struggles that he's gone through, and it's just we don't know, like it just seems like it's bad luck with these knee injuries with him, and I want him to work, to get closer to getting that championship because he's had times, and this is probably the best chance he had being a part of the team, but dog, like he can't catch a break. But I say that.
Go ahead.
Now I was gonna move on to say I say that to say Mr. Jimmy.
Wait, Miss Smith, I'm sorry, we have a live report. There's somebody's theme music is coming in. What is this? Miss Smith, can you play it over our loudspeakers?
Nigga, it's me. I'm him. I'm not them. I'm him Jones. I'm him Duncan. I will beat a nigga ass and stomp him in my Timberlands. I've been him. I'ma always be him. I'ma stay him. I'm not them. You understand me?
I'm sorry. Himmy Butler is that man. Is that dude. Dog, I don't know. My man, anytime he's in the playoffs, he goes in the hyperbolic time chamber, comes back out a Super Saiyan 2 for all my anime fans. Oh, dog. Himmy Butler. There's so much there are I liken this to another team we're gonna talk about just a little bit later, who I'm still a little bit upset with. But Draymond Green had a quote about there's 82 game players and then there's 16 game players. I find it really hard to argue right now in the NBA right now, naming, I'll say 8 better 16 game player people in the NBA right now than Jimmy Butler. Because it's just literally, he is the definition of the meme of he got that dog in him. He got two Rottweilers and a pit bull. He got 3 dogs in him. Because for him to not only pull his team through, but on time and time again, because the first time it was a 50 piece, right? Right, the first time?
Yeah, 56 or 57, somewhere around that point.
Yeah, so 56 that first one, and then to follow that up with a 43 piece to seal the deal, dog. ain't none but respect. Like, I remember when he was doing this with the Heat in the bubble, where it's like, okay, dog, he might be him. He really might have that dog in him. But dog, I mean, we could see it. Like, we knew he had the potential, but to do it against what's arguably the best NBA player in the league with Giannis, ain't none but respect, man. Mr. Smith, you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I'm just saying. Number one, I'm gonna call it what it is. The bucket that got him into overtime in that series clinching win, that was definitely a push off. That was a foul. But I'm a leave that alone because, to be honest, Giannis, I am appreciative of your gifts as a basketball player, but bruh, you need to work on free throws. Oh my Lord. There is no reason. There is no reason that you should have, not only do you have that many attempts, but you miss this. Okay, listeners, this man had 23 attempts at the free throw line. Most players usually don't go over 7, 8 in a game. He had
maybe 10 or 13
at the most, right? If you're like a James Harden or whatever, looking for the foul. This man had really.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Anywho,
I'll put Jordan Puddle in there too, because he's not Poole right now. He's Jordan Puddle. But again, listeners, I'm gonna get to that later.
But like, you had 23 attempts and you only made 10 of them. Nah, fam. Nah. So Miami pulls the upset as an 8 seed, and they're the first team from the play-in to beat a higher seed to move on in the playoffs. But shout out to Giannis, who was asked a question about whether this is a failure for the season as the Bucks. And I just want you to listen to how he interprets this message.
I just asked Bud the exact same question, but I'm curious for you. Do you view this season as a failure?
Oh my God. Okay, because I'm not that up. You asked me the same question last year, Eric. Okay. Do you get the promotion every year on your job? No, right? So every year you work is a failure. Yes or no? No. Every year you work towards something, towards a goal, right? Which is to get a promotion, to be able to take care of your family, to be able, provide the house for them or take care of your parents. You work towards a goal. It's not a failure. It's steps to success, And if you've never, I don't want to make it personal. So there's always steps to it, Michael Jordan played 15 years, won 6 championships. The other 9 years was a failure? That's what you're telling me? No, I'm asking you a question. Yes or no? Okay, exactly. So why are you asking me that question? It's a wrong question. There's no failure in sports. There's good days, bad days. Some days you are able to be successful. Some days you're not. Some days it's your turn. Some days it's not your turn. And that's what sports is about. You don't always win. Some other people's gonna win. And this year, somebody else is gonna win. Simple as that. We're going to come back next year, try to be better, try to build good habits, try to play better, not have a 10-day stretch with playing bad basketball, and hopefully we can win a championship. So
yeah, listeners, he had that very inspirational message, and I definitely applaud his answer to the reporter. I'm just going to make this one little, chink in the armor of his statement. In his statement, he said that Michael Jordan played 15 years, won 6 championships, where the other 9 years a failure. And he said yes or no. He was like, no, it's not a failure. It was stepping stones to success. So within that, I have to then argue for the Jordan fans that Michael Jordan didn't have a lot of help in the first 9 years of his career. He had Scottie, and it wasn't until he got Horace Grant and John Paxson and, as much as I hate to say this, Bill Cartwright, as well as B.J. Armstrong, and I'm missing a shooting guard. I can't remember who the 2 guard, because it wasn't Ron Harper. Ron Harper came in the second 3P. But anywho, outside, it was Jordan. No, Steve Kerr was the second 3P. The first 3P was John Paxson. But when he got to the pinnacle, Jordan made sure never to come down again. Giannis has been to the pinnacle in 2021. So it's like, yes, this is still a stepping stone to greatness, but you've already achieved it. So you kind of already know what stepping stones you make. However, I do agree with his mindset regarding how that goes on. So it'll be interesting to see how Miami deals with New York in this second series. Now, part 2 of what we wanted to talk about, which is what Brother X has been waiting for. Remember, listeners, he said if it happens, he's gonna be talking some cash shit. I'm just gonna sit back. Go ahead, Brother X.
Well, since we spoke earlier about people who are him, like you know how like you have examples in the dictionary. I'm just gonna go ahead and say first and foremost is Jimmy Butler. I'll give it LeBron James. I'm gonna give it other people, but I'm also gonna give it a young Wardell Stephen Curry. He is him, like see adjacent, because first and foremost, listeners, at the time of this recording, we just watched or observed that the Warriors blew out the Kings in their first round matchup in 7 games, and Curry not only had a 20-piece, he not only had a 30-piece, didn't have a 40-piece. My man had a smooth 50-piece with 8 rebounds and 6 assists. On efficient shooting, he shot roughly about 50%, a little bit under for a 3-pointer. But listeners, I say that to say, Warriors fans, we better appreciate him while he's here, because Lord knows it's gonna be some dark days. Because Jordan Puddle, dog, my man still got streak stains down his leg after Game 6. At the time that we were supposed to, we started our break. The Warriors had came back 2-2. And they were going into Game 5, which they won on the road. Shout out to beating their road record for the year. But additionally, they had a Game 6 where they could have closed out. Listeners, it wasn't just him. It was an entire team, which I'm still mad. I am the scoring lover, because y'all had no business getting your ass waxed at home, getting out-hustled, out-ran, out-rebound, outshot, outplayed by Malik Monk. It wasn't even De'Aaron Fox. It was Malik Monk. But shout out to him, because he finally found his own, finally figured out his thing. But as a Warriors fan, I'm like, dog, you can't, as a player, and granted, it's easy for me to say, but I'm speaking from a fan, not from a logical standpoint, you got paid that much after you won a championship, and you're supposed to be like the 6th man off the bench. Like, you're supposed to be a consistent offensive threat and develop, or to continue to develop to be at least a starter at bare minimum, and an all-star at your like ceiling, and you continue to play like old boy from Martin, where it's like, I'm sorry, Martin, I didn't want to go to Arizona the way you was playing. Like, got us all frustrated looking at you like, dog, you just not gonna score at all. You're not gonna even try to play defense. I mean, like, dog, you can't be that tiny of a guard and not at least try to play defense. Like, I know you deal with all this other stuff, but it's like, you have to be able to step up to the plate if you're going to be the 6th man off the bench. When Moses Moody, shout out to the real Warriors fans, you understand, is playing better than you as like the 7th or 8th man off the bench, and he's getting on a rookie contract, you ain't got no business playing that bad. Like, literally, listeners, my man set the, getting back to Curry, set the record for most points in a Game 7 ever with a 50-piece. And then on top of that, I think he had most threes. No, I'm sorry. That's a lie. I don't think it was most threes, but you just got to understand. He almost had more points than the rest of the Warrior starters combined. And he missed 2 free throws, which he never misses. Like, listeners, this man is greatness. If everybody's saying, oh, he's just a shooter, oh, he just think, all the Nick Wrights, Charles Barkley's, Kendrick Perkins, Monica McNuts, and all the other sportscasters. And the more words of Chilzel Adonis, hold my nuggets, somebody. All right, Mr. Smith, you have any thoughts that I've said my piece?
You said your piece. I'm just surprised that I knew the Warriors were going to put up a good fight, and I knew that it was going to come down, especially like you said, I was thinking that the Warriors were going to close them out in 6 at home, and that game 6 performance was awful. I mean, Jordan Poole, you got the bag. You got to show why you deserve the bag because, bro, like that. But overall, like Stephen Curry, again, I used to always say, like, no, he's not the best shooter of all time. It's Ray Allen. It's this person. Is that nigga? Like in a game 7, you went 20 for 38, 7 from 18 from 3, and 3 for 5 from the free throw for 50 points. You basically said to your shooting, we are not losing this game. Nope. If I got to do everything, we are not losing this game. And listeners, you knew Curry was in his bag because at one point when they called the timeout to get all the starters out for both teams, Curry literally yelled, pointed to the people at the score table and said, light the beam. Light it now, why don't you? I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
So,
like, he just a bad man. Like, there's 2 things that are scariest about Steph Curry. When this nigga is either stone-faced, like shaking his head, I got it, with the Cam Newton, or when this nigga is smiling after his team is lost. 2 of the most serious things in the world, because you already know, he coming for blood. Like, he going to hunt every matchup, he going to shoot every 3, and he going to break your heart.
And that's literally what he did. So
but that's the thing. So, you know, as the Warriors, they stepped up to the plate. They did what they're supposed to do. They still got a little bit of redeeming to do in my eyes, but we'll get to that a little bit later. But at least Draymond and the Warriors were able to follow up with all the big shit and talking that they did. Unlike, I believe there was somebody, I can't remember. Do you remember who could have been that talk shit, got hit, and then got sent to Cancun early? Do you know?
Oh, yes. I believe the person's name is a Mr. Dillon Brooks, who had this to say after game 2.
The Lakers are making that run. They get it to 14. You and LeBron have that exchange. There are people out there that say maybe you shouldn't do that with one of the better players in the game. What were you thinking?
I don't care. He's old. You know what I mean? I was waiting for that. I was expecting him to do that game 4, game 5. He wanted to say something when I got my 4th foul. He should have been saying that earlier on. But, you know, I poke bears. I don't respect no one until they come and give me 40. So I pride myself on, you know, what I do is defense and taking on any challenge that's on the board.
Yeah, listeners, you heard him. Dillon Brooks of the Memphis Grizzlies got into LeBron James' face game 2 when the Grizzlies was up and they dancing and all sorts of stuff. He's talking big cash shit. So after game 2, Dillon Brooks said that to the media, you know, and if you didn't hear just exactly what he said, when they talk about taunting LeBron, I don't care he's old. I poke bears. I don't respect anyone until they come and give me 40. He said this while putting up 12 points on 5 of 14 shooting with 3 assists. Now, if there's anything you ever hear from people, there are 2 to 3 people you don't antagonize before a game. Michael Jordan, may he rest in peace, Kobe Bryant, and LeBron James. If I remember correctly,
I would like to suggest Steph Curry.
I will give Steph.
He's not quite there. He's not quite there.
He's at the door. I'm not gonna say like he's all the way there. He's already in the driveway. He done got out the car. Now he's at the door, right? But so afterwards, as I heard those comments, I immediately thought of like game 6 of the 2012 Eastern Conference Finals when, you know, Paul Pierce talked about, I'm so cold. He can't guard me, whatever. And listeners, if you don't know what happened, let me enlighten you. LeBron came in with the same facial expression the entire game. Did not blink, did not flinch, whatever. This man went off for 45, 15, and 5 and blew out the Celtics to the point where their starters sat out the entire 4th quarter. Yeah, so game 3 somewhat did that. And LeBron locked up Dillon Brooks to 3 of 13 shooting for 7 points. Now, if I'm someone talking big cash shit, I'm at least dropping 20, 25 points a game. 7, in the immortal words of the Little Rascals, 7. 7? Try 8. 8? Like, nigga, what? How are you talking big shit? You only got 7 points. So the Lakers pretty much destroyed Memphis. And when they did it, Dillon in that game 3 got ejected for hitting LeBron in the nuts. In the beginning of the third quarter. It's like, nigga, you was getting beat so bad, you had to be like, I got to get out of here. Hitting the flicker 2, I'm out. Then he left, so that way he couldn't do media after that. All right. That's
Man,
one.
like a little bitch.
Game 4 hits. And listeners, it's an aggressive game. LeBron ends up going for 20 points and 20 rebounds and has one of the craziest layups to send the game to overtime, in which he took over. Right? So when they went to overtime, Memphis was gassed. Shout out to John Morant, who in game 3, he literally put the team on his back trying to give him some type of spark. Ended up dropping 45 points with a messed up hand. Game 4, they went to overtime, and the Lakers ended up winning there, which shout out to Anthony Davis, who legit became the defensive player we needed him to be. So game 5 happens. In game 5, it is technically the next day, because this overtime game went to like 1 o'clock in the morning, Eastern time, which was like, 11 o'clock their time. So they had enough time to do press, media,
right.
Shower, literally 6 hours later, get on a flight and head over to Memphis to lose time. And obviously Memphis took care of business in game 5, which they should have, because Lakers were gassed and they didn't really have nothing. But then game 6 happened, and listen, Lakers couldn't miss. I'm gonna call it what it is. It's bad when the top scorer was D'Angelo Russell. Listeners, not LeBron, not AD, not even Austin Reeves. D'Angelo Russell, coming off the bench, was the top scorer with 31 points. That's the kind of game they had, to the point where LeBron hit in my opinion, the dagger 3 at the end of the third quarter. And they pulled all the starters at the beginning of the fourth. I said, damn, well, this game is over. Now, if you remember, Dillon Brooks at the beginning of game 2, or at the end of game 2, was talking all that shit. Game 3, didn't say nothing to the media. Game 4, didn't say nothing to the media. Game 5, didn't say nothing to the media. Game 6. You got to talk now, right? This is your last conversation really with the media in a playoff scenario before you do back to interviews. This man left the arena before media was even allowed in the locker room. And to that, I have to say, you a little bitch. Normally, I will take it the more, professional, responsible route. But that was a bitch move, man. If you're going to talk all that shit about the fact that you don't respect anybody until they give you 40, you got to back that up no matter who you are, which is why we respect Patrick Beverley. Patrick Beverley will say the most reckless stuff imaginable. Yet, at the end of the day, he will stick with it, whether he's right or wrong. He's going to stay on it. He's going to be like, hey, they got my ass.
He owns it. Like Patrick comes from the same school, Draymond Green, and like previous other trash talkers. Like, you can't, dog, that is like the most elementary level, like, nah, man. Nah, they was cheating. How are they cheating? Because they're winning. Nigga, if you don't go take your basketball and go home, go play something else, man. Go play golf or something. Because this big boy games, like, you are a professional and you walking around like a WWE created character talking about, you're like, I poke bears. Nigga, can you poke the scoreboard?
Well.
Can you poke a rebound?
Yeah.
Can you poke something? Out here got more pokes on Facebook than he does in the game.
Way to throw it back. I haven't heard poke and Facebook in the same sentence in a long time. But listeners, just understand, like, his primary goal was to guard LeBron. And LeBron taxed that ass. I mean, he was beating him thoroughly. LeBron dropped, 20 points a game? Each game that they played. Maybe except for the last one, I'm thinking. No, he dropped 22. So, yeah, he dropped 20 points a game. He had a 20-point game and 20 rebound game in game 4, which, listeners, last time I checked, 20 and 20 is 40. So, technically, LeBron gave you 40. But I have to say, let this be a lesson to those people that are younger. Stop writing checks that your ass can't cash. You can't talk on the Lakers or whatever that they're down or whatever at the time when do you not know who they are? Do you not know who LeBron James is? Do you not know who Anthony Davis is? Like, yes, they might have been injury prone and all that last year, but even though AD scares me every time he falls, the nigga, when he's in his bag, is hard to beat. And you want to know the crazy part about all this? Afterwards, you know, I just had to think to myself, well, Ja Morant, you know, is slightly him. Because even on his bad games, like 10 points or whatever, you have to always remember the man was playing with a messed up hand. But Dillon Brooks, this is partly what I think about when I hear of your stat line within this series.
Yeah, okay.
Anybody know how old LeBron is? Dillon, you know how old LeBron is?
No, Ja, we still good in the West, right?
You know how old LeBron is?
We still good in the West, Ja, huh? We still good in the West, right?
You know how old LeBron is?
We still good in the West, right?
Hey, real quick though, real quick. My hand was hurt, right? What's your excuse?
Oh my God!
That shit was the funniest shit ever. Hey, real quick question. My hand was hurt. What's your excuse? Nigga, the fact that I look back at that game that I think Desmond Bane had 33, Ja probably had like, I don't know, 31, 30 points, whatever. And then you look at Dillon Brooks with 8 points on 3 of 15 shooting. My nigga, why are you talking shit? What?
They are winning. They are winning in spite of you. Again,
Yes.
shout out to Draymond Green. It's like, dog, whatever dynasty that they think they have starts after him, not with him. Dog, they making Draymond Green sound like Notre Dame.
And then on top of that, I think it was game 3. Ja Morant had 45 points with a messed up hand. In the same game that Ja Morant had 45 points, Dillon Brooks had 7. Dillon. I don't know if I see you in the Grizzlies next year. I don't know if I actually will see you on the NBA roster because, to be honest, LeBron pumped you. Like, he pumped the shit out of you. And to be honest, I don't know if you can come back from this because no matter whenever you decide to get on another team or you do talk, everyone's going to talk about is you was talking all that shit in game 2. What happened? You just left? I'm out. No media availability? Like, what are we doing? So me and Brother X are really, really happy that we have been able to knock out the Memphis Grizzlies because them young boys, when they up, they talk all that shit. Oh yeah, it's a party in my city. It's a parade in my city. Grittying, all that good stuff. Yet you got dust in the first round.
You know, a great analogy of this is going back to, you remember how we talked in a previous episode about like flossing for the gram and all of that stuff? And we talked about like going to like certain gentleman establishments and how the dude flashing all the money, talking, got big chains on, got the booth in the section, talking all that cash shit, being very vibrant and like drawing attention to himself. That is the Memphis Grizzlies. The Sacramento Kings is Chet or whatever the dude's name was in the back corner coming up to the bar. Let me get a bottle of this. Let me get a bottle of that. Let me get a bottle of that. And let me get like 500 ones. Dog, the Sacramento Kings are what the Grizzlies think they are. And they've done it in less time than the Memphis Grizzlies because Memphis hasn't even made it out the second round, let alone to try to say they are a dynasty. Dog, don't ever in your life utter the words dynasty because until y'all can get out the second round or you can stay healthy, I don't want to hear shit. But that's just me though. It's not like I have personal experience of dealing with the Memphis Grizzlies talking shit and getting hit. I guess you could say the Lakers whooped that trick. Yeah, you know I had to. I'm sorry.
Touche. I'm not even mad. That was quite. I mean, it didn't help that they actually were playing whoop that trick in the Lakers crypto.com arena as the Lakers are pulling away. And listeners, if you just the cherry on top of all of this, yes. Again, Dillon Brooks said I don't respect anybody until they give me 40. Listeners, I want you to know the score of the final game that the Lakers ended up winning before they, the score of the game that closed out the series. The score of the game was 125 Lakers, 85 Grizzlies. Now, if you do the quick math, you carry, the 5, 0, carry the 1. So that's 40.
Emotional damage.
Ain't it funny how God has a good sense of humor and life comes at you full circle? You were talking about, I don't respect anybody until they give you 40. And the whole team just gave you 40. How about that?
How about that?
But it's not like, Brother X, you know about getting to the second round. And then we know about.
You got to the second round too?
I got to the second round. So, it's going to be interesting. Listeners, I'm glad we on break for this because now it's Brother X's Warriors versus me and teacher-based Lakers in the second round.
Oh, yeah, no. For the betterment of this podcast, we staying on mental health break
until that series is over.
Oh, I know this is about to get so toxic. So, like the pure fan in me, not the logical try to be strategic win thing, is I see this going 7. And I can only comfortably say that 7 because since the Warriors beat the Kings, they have home court advantage. So they would have a game 7 back in San Fran, which would be very poetic if Steph Curry got a chance to redeem himself game 7 against LeBron after that year we won't speak of in the moment. But in all seriousness, man, I think it's going to be a great series. What we will say is, dog, them different Nuggets, boy, they coming.
Yeah.
They here. And Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, if they don't get no help from the bench, they might need to go ahead and get that broom and a brush. KD's here.
Go ahead and get the sweet sleeping. Get the sweet sleeping out.
The way they played that first game, dog, it's scary arrows out there, man. They're going to eclipse the Suns is what they're going to do.
Damn. But yes, that is all for Mr. Smith Sportscenter. If you have any other questions, comments, or you want to learn more about the NFL, hit up my boy Red Wolf on his Instagram and his YouTube. His links will be in the description below.
And listeners, thank you again for listening to us ramble on for probably a good 30, 45 minutes about sports. But if you ever have any thoughts or opinions you want to share with us, you can always hit up our social media at the TNT Pod 123 on Twitter, Truth and Transparency Pod on Instagram, Truth and Transparency Pod on TikTok, the Truth and Transparency Podcast on Facebook, the Truth and Transparency Podcast on YouTube. And you can always hit up our email at truthandtransparencypod123@gmail.com. For Mr. Smith, and for myself and for the coaches, scientists, and all of our lovely supporters and fans, if this podcast is no bigger than what it is right now, they are forever grateful. We are forever grateful. And the immortal words of my father, eat the elephant one bite at a time. Peace.
We in the second round. Now we going back on vacation.
Yep, we gone.
I make a motherfucker say, oh yeah, I'm cold as a lion with no hair. If you ever see me fighting in the forest with a grizzly bear, help the bear, the bear, the bear, the bear, the bear.